Plenty of room up this end. Delighted to have the writer and the there's Will Coleman here, but I'll introduce him later on. He's going to speak down at the in front of the. We remember you, owing defeat, though we are weary and the day seems done, and oh, we will. Centuries fall, when all the right is Colonel's wrong, and oh, we will remember you. Good timing, Will, because it says here, Will Coleman, musician, author, and storyteller.
Oh, my lovelies. Right on. Now, it has been mentioned that I come all the way from Bodmin, where we've usually hang out with Thomas Flamank. Hey? He being the brains of the outfit. Is that right, Mrs. Bunny? Is that right? Yes, it is. Thank you, Margaret. Yeah. So we supplied the brains, you poor people down here on the Lizard supplied the brawns of the occasion. Now, we of course have a carbon copy, it didn't exactly say, some of the patches of lichen are slightly moved to the left and right, but we got a very similar plaque up to Bodmin. And if any of you have taste, discretion and a taste for cultural enlightenment, get your backsides along to Bodmin riding, Saturday 6th of July. And you'll see us going through the whole malarkey of putting the beast on trial at the Bodmin riding. Now, to business. Francesca, she said to me, will he come and say a few words? I said, what? She says, say a few words on the subject of, and I quote, Cornish fairy tales and folklore give us an insight into the psychology of the Cornish and how the medieval theatre tradition of the Plen and Gwarry might give us a little inkling into how Michael Joseph Angof saw himself and the world picture of his own cosmography. I said, how long I got? She said, about 3 minutes. I said, well, I shall get through the title then. Here. Do you know there's only 7 stories in the world? True fact. Okay, not away, my lovely, not away. A guy called Christopher Booker wrote a book that thick called The 7 Basic Plots and Why We Tell Tales. He's saying the whole of humanity's only got 7 stories, so how's Cornish folklore going to be any different anywhere else? We got granite, haven't we? Hey? We got giants, we got mermaids, we got knockers down the mines. And actually it's true that the non-human parts of fairy tales and legends and myths from here do give us an insight into the psychology and the psyche of the Cornish. However, I ain't going to talk to you about that. Because actually I've been getting very, very obsessed of late with the phenomenon of Plen and Gwarry. Now, my darlings, those ignorant of you, now just nod anyway. Plen and Gwarry! Right, the Plen and Gwarry, of course, as we'd all know, was the medieval and Tudor amphitheatres for theatrical presentations across Cornwall. And most of us know that in St Just, we have the oldest working theatre in Britain, in the Plen and Gwarry, and over at Purren Round, of course, we got another one still in good nick. But if you've hanging out at all with yet another ex-grandbard, Rod Lyon, you'll know that he has personally identified and straked along the contours of 40 minimum, more than 40, Plen and Gwarry. William Boulez says every parish had one. We are talking about the densest, not that kind of dense. No, I'm not going back onto the Bodmin supplied brain, lizard supplied brawn bit. I don't mean dense in that sense. I mean, per square mile, Cornwall had the densest theatrical tradition at that point anywhere in Europe. We essentially invented outdoor theatre. Alright? Yes, we did, my lovelies. However, we're leading to Angof in a second. I'm getting there. The point is this. The experience of attending an event in a Plen and Gwarry wasn't like when you pay, and I hope you have paid, to go to the Hall for Cornwall to see Knee-High this week, because Tristan and Isolde, which is almost the oldest Cornish story there is showing at the Hall for Cornwall right now. I know it is 20 quid a ticket, but it is funny. It is gutsy, it is dark, it is damn sexy, and it's just a wonderful piece of theatre. Still some tickets left. I'm not in the company anymore, right? However, when we're talking about Plen and Gwarry, we are not talking about sitting in the dark watching a bunch of people up there do something and you're passive. In a Plen and Gwarry, you were in it, my lovelies. You was immersed. You were essentially participating in the action. Because up there you got M, over there you got L. Here comes the King of Egypt. Oh my dear life, I'm coming in behind. You know, on one of these scripts, there's a little scribble in the margin saying, here, John O'Gudden have got to get ready with his horse. Because he's just played whatever he played, the servant, and now he's got to play another part. Implying that we're talking about real live horses galloping through the middle of the audience. It's a very earthy experience in which you are surrounded by colour, action and noise. What's that got to do with Angof? Because, keep up, because the heyday of the Plen and Gwarry absolutely coincides with the time, not just of the Angof uprising, because I can't speak about him on his own without Perkin Warbeck later the same year, and just a couple of shakes of a lamb's tail later, off they went again in the 1549, and of course here we ought to also remember the Gear rout, which was in the interregnum. At that period in Cornish history, my God, we was nipping up and back to London quicker than if it was Twickenham every other weekend. And there was something ingrained in what was happening here that meant that we had an independence of mind and a distinctive approach to the world that was not going to simply lie down and buy into whatever was coming to us from London. And if there was one thing we can say about dear old Mr. Angof of this parish, when he stood here and talked to people, it wasn't to a relatively small minority of the population. He was talking to everybody and on behalf of everybody, because we had a sense of who we were. And that sounds a bit negative, as if we have lost that. And I certainly don't want to imply that. But if we actually start to uncover what the Plen and Gwarry is all about and what the scripts contain, I'd like to turn your attention specifically to Bunan's Merry Azek, which dates from just a very, very few years after Angove, in which the clarity could not be clearer. The baddie is called Tudor, Henry VII, my lovelies. The goodie is called Duke of Curnow, and the Duke of Curnow very clearly says, you are an imposter, you have no right to be here in this country. And he's making it absolutely clear that what the whole of 1497 was about, and about the subsequent uprisings, was that here we had an ancient and unalienable, that word. Always carry a ex-Grand Bard with you for pronunciation reasons. We had an inalienable right to run our own show. And of course, what people keep, when they talk about the tax that Angove rebelled about, actually, hang on, Henry VII in 1498 suspended the Stannery Parliament. That's actually a much heavier deal than imposing an extra tax. That's saying you no longer have the right to run your own show. And so, for me, lifting the lid of Plen and Gwarry, and fairy tales, and whatever else I was supposed to get into this speech, actually reveals that the psychology of Angove, and of course his brains up to Bodmin, was that we need to make sure that we continue to explore our right to run our own show. Okay? That is why, ladies and gentlemen, I am an unashamed and cheerful Cornish nationalist, and why it is delightful on occasions, now and again, instead of being in places where I feel like a very, very obscure minority following some weird path, to be amongst friends. And it's lovely to be here, and I hope you have a very, very pleasant evening. Colonel Biswagan!
Lieutenant Jenkin is going to lay the wreath, which will be followed by 1 minute silence.
Ardaz Ogolosic, a pure diuretic, near peas a wreath veneth the book Kernowall. In Agan County had raised all and Norvis, Cafries in Anisma had Tramore. In Lay my mons, Wardeer ha Wardour, Lemon ha Pupirol. Grab a Niga over ha Laffer Agadula, ha Puptra ol Ganza, is Grays Raglays Kerno, ha Raglays and Norvis. Row thither than earth, my crefafe aga Holland, her with brasta aga ongamerians, Preda, Toll, Creft Leon, Gwarry Kinfo, her grunt thither, my halos thou worthier, in spirit hagen grioneth, re ras agen aluth, Jesu Christ. Amen.
We're going to sing Trelawney, so let everyone hear it. A good soul and a trusty and a merry heart and true. King James's men shall understand what Cornish lads can do. And have they fixed the where and when, and shall Trelawney die? Here's 20,000 Cornish men will know the reason why. And shall Trelawney live, or shall Trelawney die? Here's 20,000 Cornish men will know the reason why. Up spake their captain, brave and bold, and very right was he. If London Tower Michael's hold, we'll set Trelawney free. We'll cross the Tamar land to land, the Severn is no stay. With one and all and hand in hand, and
who shall bid us stay, and shout slowly live, oh shout slowly die, is 20,000